This just in the heart of Kampala City, I bring you breaking news. We have Awan James, who at a very huge point in his relationship with Mary decided to propose to her, and in a huge crowd of people he eventually did it by giving her a ceremonial ring that all of us want to do. Now, at some point in time, James changed his mind and actually broke the news to Mary and told her, "Know what, Mary, I think I'm no longer going to go ahead with marrying you." Now, Mary is so bewildered, she doesn't know what to do, she doesn't know what steps to take, but most importantly, she doesn't know whether indeed there are legal remedies for what has just happened to her. In today's video, I'm going to discuss exactly what Mary can do in this circumstance, what she can do in the situations moving forward, and what all of you can do concerning what's called a promise to marry. So, in today's video edition of Legal News Daily, let's discuss all of this. Welcome everyone to Legal News Daily. My name is Counsel Terry Kahuma, the usual host on Legal News Daily. And today we're going to get straight to the point. Now, indeed, yes, you can actually sue for what's called a breach of promise to marry. Now, in so many situations, especially now that we're from Valentine's Day, so many ladies, young, beautiful women have been given engagement rings by their boyfriends and promising them that, you know what, honey, you know what, Rose, you know what, Mary, you know what, Fortunate, I'm actually going to marry you. Come this June, come December. Now, so many of us have been promised different things by different men and also women. Now, in a case that's going to come further that I'm going to tell you about, I'll also show you that women can also be sued for a breach of promise to marry. But I'll first start with the dominant side, which is the male side. Now, so many situations, like I've just given in the previous one, what can Mary do if James disappoints her? In these circumstances, the fact that it was done in an open space, then Mary can actually have a cause of action against James. Now, many times I've discussed what a cause of action is, and a cause of action is basically you have a case against this person. I'm going to simplify it for you in the best way you can understand. A cause of action means that you have a certain set of facts and a right against a certain person in court. So meaning anyone can have a cause of action against any other person. You are taking this person to court for a deep reason that you have against them. Now, in terms of a breach of promise to marry, now I'm speaking to you, the ladies. If you ever have a man who has proposed to you, especially in a big set of people, or even if it's in the privacy of your own home, maybe you're cohabiting, maybe you people are staying together. If a man ever gets on his knees and proposes to you, that is a promise to marry. This person is telling you that, you know what, I am seeing you in my future. I am seeing everything bright and sunny with you. I see children with you. So I am giving you this ring as a symbol of my appreciation for you and my love for you. And I'm promising you that I'm going to marry you in the next 1 or 2 years. Now, why is a breach of promise to marry something that you can sue someone for? I'll start with what's called the Contracts Act of 2010. Now, across the world, when we have different laws, international laws, we have domestic laws, the law of contracts is universal. So a promise to marry or a marriage, let's even start with a marriage. A marriage is seen as a contract between two people. That is why, like here in Uganda, whether you go for an introduction, which is, let's say, a kuhinjira, or a kwanjula, or a kuchala, like we normally call it here in our local dialects, or a kwarenga, if a man ever takes it very serious with you, if he ever comes to your home, then that is what's called establishing a contract. You are already having these pre-contractual requirements, and indeed he's showing you that, you know what, I promise to marry you in this specified amount of time. You're seeing your people. So a marriage is seen as a contract. Now, when it comes to a breach of promise to marry, this person already saw a future with you. They have booked you. So like if you go to a supermarket and you see very, very nice items there and you zero down on this one item, you have gotten that one item, you take it to the counter, and by the time you go and pay for that actual item, then along the way you go back to the supermarket, and then you tell the person on the supermarket aisle or on the supermarket counter that, you know what, I think I've changed my mind. I think I want to return back this item. Now the supermarket person can actually have a right to sue you because you got this item, you paid for it, they even gave you a receipt. That was a contract that was done between the two of you. Then you again come back and return the item. So it's kind of like that. When you get on your knees and you promise to marry someone, or even you, the ladies, when you see yourself trying to also promise a man marriage and say, you know what, I want to be in your life, and along the way you say, you know what, I think I've changed my mind, I've gotten someone else, then that person actually has a right to sue you. But they're suing you on the basis that a promise to marry is seen as a contract, or is seen as a pre-contract, meaning you have broken this person's trust. You have booked them considering that they are considering that, let's say, they would have been a very prized possession of yours, and now you're changing your mind and telling them that, you know what, I'm no longer going to marry you. Now, what are the remedies that Mary can have against James? So we're already established that she can sue, she can have a cause of action to sue James for a breach of promise to marry. So meaning that she had put her hopes in James. Perhaps they even had kids, as we'll look at the news bulletin later. Perhaps they had kids, they had already amassed property. Let's say she had invested all of her hopes and dreams in James, and James just disappoints and breaks her heart. He even gave her a ring. Now, Mary can go to a lawyer, build up her case, and tell the lawyer that, you know what, I've spent 10 years with James, we have 3 children, we have been cohabiting for a long time, we have assets. So even if that may not be the case, try and build your case with your lawyer. Now I'm talking to you ladies who have been disappointed by men so many times. I'm part of the male species, but I know how us men, you can be very disappointing. You give a lady a ring, you promise her in front of so many people, or let's say in front of her family, and along the way you break her heart. So that is a pre-contract. You are breaking a contract between the two of you. Now, like I said, Mary and all of you ladies out there, you can have an action against this person for breaching a promise to marry, for causing you emotional frustration and emotional stress. For also, you can sue them for damages for wasting your time, because by the time they knelt down and promised you marriage, you had hopes in this person and you knew that they were going to take you up as a wife. So that is the angle at which you can actually sue them, either in the magistrate's court or in the high court. Now, last year there was a very famous case of Richard Tumwine versus Fortunate. I think she was called Charosime or Charikunda. So it's Richard Tumusime versus Fortunate Charikunda. Now, this happened in Kanungu district. Richard had been dating Fortunate for a long time. Now, they eventually both agreed that, you know what, we're going to marry each other and there's nothing that's going to stop us. Now, I think they'd already gone for introduction and everything. But along the way, as we're going for the church marriage, the parents of Fortunate told their daughter Fortunate that, you know what, I think Richard is an elderly man. We don't want you to marry him. So please, we want you to go and tell him that you're no longer interested in the marriage. When Fortunate came and told her fiancé or soon-to-be husband Richard that, you know what, I'm actually not going to marry you because my parents have said I can't marry you, Richard got into arms and said, you know what, I'm going to sue you in court for breaking a promise to marry. He sued in the chief magistrate's court in Kanungu, and eventually they upheld in the magistrate's court that Fortunate actually had to pay Richard Tumusime 10 million Uganda shillings because he showed that he had invested a lot in the relationship, in the soon-to-be marriage, in the wedding preparations. So the court saw fit that she should return back his money. Now, that just shows you that, ladies, you can actually sue for a breach of promise to marry, but also women, a man can actually sue you for breaking a promise to marry. So I wanted to bring all of that to you. I wanted to explain to you that indeed you can sue someone for breaking a promise to marry to you. So if you ever find yourself in such situations, please go and visit your lawyer, explain all the facts to them and tell them that, you know what, my husband promised to marry me. He got on his knees on Valentine's Day. He gave me a ring, but nothing ever happened. He eventually got a side woman and things are now falling apart. Now, I want to, before I finish this video, I want to explain to you, there are also situations where you find now in the situation of James and Mary. If James, for example, had a side woman called Sandra, if he had an affair with Sandra and yet he had promised to marry Mary, and he indeed goes ahead and also introduces Sandra and also goes into a church marriage, and Mary gets to hear that there's a church marriage, she can go and object the marriage. I think many of us have watched movies who have been in church marriages, and the priest or bishop always asks, if anyone opposes this marriage, please stand up right now and object this marriage. Now, if Mary ever gets word that James is dating Sandra, she can actually lodge a caveat on that marriage, because the good thing with church marriages or even Islamic marriages or civil marriages, they always put the two intending marriages, the two people who are intending to marry, they put them on a gazette for the whole world to see, to give people time to either come and object to the marriage and say that, you know what, I've been dating so and so, they promised to marry me, and indeed I object to this marriage. So Mary in such situations can actually lodge a caveat on that marriage under the Marriage Act. If the registrar is preparing a marriage certificate for James and his side chick Sandra, then she can lodge a caveat on that certificate giving reasons as to why she is stopping that marriage from happening. I think many of you have heard me talk about a caveat in this channel, and I'm going to leave the link in the description below. But a caveat is basically a document which is stopping any dealing from happening, or any event or anyone from doing anything where you see fit for that event to have been stopped. So thank you everyone for listening to me. I mean, yours truly, Terry Kahuma. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, And most importantly, if you ever find yourself being disappointed by your lover, especially in terms of a promise to marry, please go to my legal mobile app called Famiron. Famiron is an app which connects people and lawyers together, offering a multitude of other services which makes services and giving legal services to you much easier. For the case of Mary, I think for Mary, instead of, let's say, getting a gun and shooting James, she can actually go to the Famiron app and actually get lawyers who will help her with whatever situation that she is in, and she can actually get damages from James. Well, until next time. Oh, and before I forget, please go to these different other videos and different playlists where I discuss different events and other troublesome legal topics which affect your day-to-day life. Until next time, I remain yours truly, Terry Kahuma, and bye.